Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create a floral floating pop-up card. And this is how the card is going to look like once all the pieces are together. Which you can see looks a beautiful card. Let's check the design. So this is how the design is finalized on Design Space, and these are part of the main pieces for this type of card. So this is the piece that goes for the base along with these small pieces, and this is also the way that we need the base to be created. Also, this is one of the main pieces that is going to be folded in those yellow sections that you see on the picture. And I also cut two circles. One of them has these flowers. I didn't cut this one correctly, but it's not gonna show up. And these flowers have a pop-up effect also. Sorry, I meant to say flowers. And these are all the pieces to create the flowers that go on top of the base. Flowers and leaves. So I'm gonna start using watercolors to kind of decorate this area because I wanted to have different colors, and this will be the fastest way to do it. Now I have painted all the sections for this circle, and the next step will be just to let it dry, and this is how the design with the flowers is gonna be on top. So in the meantime, we are gonna start with the card. I'm using this type of paper. I found it at Michael's, and I'm gonna cut this section because it has text that I don't need. This is a 8.5 inches by 11 inches. Then I'm gonna fold it by half. Now I'm gonna fold this piece as I mentioned before, folding these parts in both sides, and this is how it's gonna look like. and it's gonna be glued like this, and we just have to make sure that the circle is not gonna go over the top of the card. This is how it will be glued later. So this piece is dry now, and I'm gonna glue it to the white circle that I have that has the flowers. I'm just adding glue all around the circle. And then I'm just adding also glue on the back of my flowers circle, because these sections need to stay glued also, because once I create the pop-up effect on this design, I don't want you to come out all the way. It's gonna be just the petals, and you can see that the back has some design already there, but it's actually just paper that I didn't want to use on anything because I didn't like the design, so I decided to use it like this instead, and it's a very thick paper if you like. Now you can see that the reason why I wanted different colors, because it gives a nice look to the flowers in general, and also different colors all around. So now let's create this piece. So I'm gonna fold the base right now. It's gonna be like a little square. And I'm using my heat gun again, just to glue the pieces together quicker. Just testing that it's folding well, and at the end it's gonna look like this piece. So these pieces already have score lines, so I just have to fold them before I glue them to the base. So this one has 2.5 inches. This one also has 2.5 inches. This one has 2 inches, which is this part, and this one also has 2 inches. And these little ones have 1.7 inches. So this is how this piece is gonna be glued. We'll put a little bit of glue, and then on the other side, and then we put them together, and this is how it's gonna be glued. And now we have the first piece for this base type. Now it's good to add glue just to one side first, because that way we make sure that it's being glued correctly. Then we add glue to the other side, and then again put them together, kind of making pressure. Now we have the second piece. Now let's do the third one, which is gonna be in the opposite side. This is how it's gonna be glued, and the same with the other side. And you just need to put a little bit of glue, just enough to attach the pieces. And these are the little ones. They are gonna be kind of in the section where the base folds. Again, we glued one side first and then the second one. And before we glue the second one, we fold it to make sure that it's gonna fold correctly also. Especially with these little ones because they can be a little bit tricky, sorry. And then we do the same with the second piece. Yeah, we close it, and then once we close it, we know exactly where it's gonna be glued. I'm removing a little bit of glue here. And now I have the piece ready, basically. I can add one more if I want to, but maybe I will leave it as it is. So now I'm gonna put together some of the sections for the flowers. So I have these two pieces that I'm gonna glue together, and this one has already scored lines that I'm gonna use to fold it and attach it to the base. Then I just need to measure this section that has 0.5 or ½ inch, and that's the marks that I'm gonna make on this piece to make a small cut so it can fit on the base. Like this. I'm cutting the one of the sides as they are a little bit bigger. You can adjust it depending on how you want this piece to fit. Now I'm just making it fit here and folding the base to make sure everything is folding together and without any problem. And now I'm just gluing this piece to the base, so no matter what, it's not gonna fly later. Now I'm gonna fold these pieces that also have score lines, and these are gonna be glued together with these pieces. I'm cutting the sides also. And then glue it to the base. I fold it and looks fine. I'm gonna do the same with this one, that goes in the back, so it's folded to the opposite side. Again, I'm cutting the sides. I'm gluing this piece again to the base. Now these flowers are gonna be folded and they will be glued like this. At this part I'm using just normal glue because the hot glue could be a little bit too much for this section. Will be noticeable also. I'm folding again. This one goes to the back. And this third one goes exactly glued to the base, or directly to the base, if that makes sense. I'm doing one half first and then the other one, just to make sure that fits correctly. Now let's create the flowers. I have two pieces that are gonna be attached together, and I'm kind of holding the petals for the second one, the one that goes on top, and I'm using my heat gun again to glue them together. And since the heat gun, the center doesn't have any color, I'm adding yellow with my glitter pens. Then I put the glue around the piece, and then attach it to the bottom piece of the flower, and start gluing the flower to the base. Good to fold the base as many times as you need, because that way we are making sure that every time we add a new piece is still folding without any problems. Otherwise, if we wait all the way through the end, it may happen that one piece wasn't glued together or with the other pieces correctly, and then we will have to remove it, and it may damage the entire arrangement that we already have. I'm gonna do the same with all the flowers. I have around 10, I will say. I may or may not use them all. In terms of adding details at the end, it's up to you. You may have an idea at the beginning and then change it. That happens to me very often. So, but I'm ready to have more than enough instead less. And if I have some flowers that I don't use, I just save them for another project. Same with the leaf. So here I'm just trying to fill some spaces to make it look nicer. So I have already glued around 5 or 6 flowers, and since the size of this vase is small, I don't need to put too many flowers. Now adding these little pieces, kind of like a tree. You can arrange this part as you wish. There is no specific rule in the design of this base. Sorry, it's just to give you the opportunity to play with your imagination and add as much as you want. And now I'm just adding like a little teeny red flowers to kind of change a little bit between colors and also types of flowers. That way makes this section a little bit more a little bit real, not more real but real. So this is pretty much all I can do here. I'm just gonna add a couple flowers at front on top of the yellow ones. I cut several, so I better use them. But as I said before, I can save them for a new project later. This is how it looks. Doesn't it look pretty? I think it does. So now I'm just adding a couple more flowers, and then these leaves to cover spaces that I feel can be completed or fill, that way we don't see those the spaces in between. I'm just using 2 or 3. That's it. Now I'm coming back to the circle that is, I will say, 75% dry. That's why it looks a little bit wrinkled. You probably don't see it, but I am able to see it. I have to be honest. Now I'm just gonna paint the center of the flowers with my yellow glitter pen, just to make that noticeable. And a couple leaves with green glitter pen also, just to make it look nice. This is something optional. So now I'm gonna mark the center of the circle, because this needs to be folded by half also, same as we did with the card. Now I'm using, creating kind of like a score line, because I don't want to cut it. Now I have this piece ready to attach it to this main piece. You can see that one of the score lines or space is up and the other one is down. I have to put it like this, exactly this way, and then we put glue and attach it to the circle. Then one side first, and then flip it and do the second one. Same thing. Now I'm gonna glue it to the card, and as I said, the circle it has to be inside of the card. It cannot be outside. I'm just making the marks to stand out a little bit more, because I'm gonna use them as a reference to put the additional glue to attach this whole piece to the card. And then flip the card and flip it to the other side. And once we open the card, this is how it's gonna look like. It has some dimension, and it's kind of like a floating cloth. And then these little pieces are actually to hold this circle down instead of going all the way up, because otherwise it's not gonna be flat, and you want it to be flat on the card as much as possible. If you were making a butterfly, for example, then you won't need this step, because the butterflies have the wings all the way up a little bit, so that will be a perfect design to make with this technique. But right now, because of the type of card that I'm making, I needed to hold a little bit. And this doesn't have kind of like the measurements involved. It's more like about making sure the piece is gonna be inside.
And this is how my flowers look like now
also,
that I decorate them and
other
the
sections.
car in general,
So
so it
now I'm
looks
gonna
pretty.
place this floral, kind of a small bouquet, like this. You have to be careful and not glue all the way. You have to glue a couple pieces first. So I'm using these small pieces that go, they have to be folded and then attached to this corner. And I will glue. This is how it's gonna be glued. As you were able to see. And it's gonna be glue kind of like in the air a little bit also. We glue one side first and then the second one after that.
So now all I need to do is glue the base to the circle, and it's always a good idea to kind of test it and make sure that the card is gonna fold without any problem. It has to be a little bit with pieces like the purple ones that you saw, and we glue one at a time like this, and then just make sure that it's completely glue, and we need to secure this so every time we open the card, it's gonna stay there. And then test it closing the card, just to make sure the other side is gonna be glued correctly also. So we put and if you put the glue like this, then you can make sure that it's right. You can make some adjustments if you need to. You can add additional glue, again, to make sure it's stable and completely glue and attached to the circle, and you can test it again. And this is how this piece is gonna look overall. I'm just making some adjustments here, and adding extra glue if I need to. So now this part is pretty much done, and then once I close it, you can see that the flowers are standing up there. So I'm just gonna add additional cardstock to cover that section, and that way you won't see them. So now I created these two pieces with these two tools, and they're gonna be glued to the card to be able to close the card. As you can see, the flowers make the card a little bit open. So I use a hole puncher and a corner puncher. Now I'm gonna start kind of folding the petals a little bit so we can have that pop-up effect flowers laying down here around the circle. And another thing that we can do here for this part, if we want to, is use glossy accents for the flowers so they will have a nice look and shiny also. And it's nice to have kind of that design around. And now I'm adding this material. You can find it at Joann Fabrics or any place that sells this type of material. This is definitely optional. I just wanted to add something else to add something a little bit different to the base, or something gold. And now to finish the card, I'm gonna add the text, and to do that I'm using vinyl, green and red, and black for the letters. And basically it's gonna say flowers bloom same as hope, which I like it when I found it on Google when I found the price. And you can see that we still have some areas that we can use to write anything in addition to the main message that we are adding right now. So you have plenty space for that. And I'm using vinyl instead regular cardstock because I don't want to use a glue for this section because it can make wrinkle the front of the card. And I'm adding a couple flowers, and I'm also adding some leaves on top of the letters to kind of match the type of card that I'm making today. I have some flowers and leaves on top of the letters to give the text a different look and nicer. So now my card is pretty much ready now, and it's time to create the envelope. So for the envelope, I'm just using these leaves that I have as leftovers again. I've been doing a lot of projects flowers related lately, so I have several. Now using this ribbon I bought it at the Dollar Tree. It was a good deal for Christmas last year. This is how the card is gonna look like. So now to finish the envelope, this is a simple envelope. The only difference is that I'm adding the flowers on the front section and flowers on top, which is what I'm gonna use to close the envelope once the card is inside. Adding these leaves each side at the bottom part, and then adding these that go at the top exactly in the middle. And now
I'm ready to place the card inside. And then this is how I open the card, and there you go. You have this beautiful design. Even the card is used, but it looks almost like a purse. I like it. Yeah, it has that nice design once you open it. That gives a different look to a normal card. And this will be pretty much it. Now that we have our card ready with all those details, I use glitter pens also for the flowers and the circle. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications for new videos coming up. See you on my next video. Bye bye.